Hey, we are back again for an incredible episode of Arise and Shine, Stories of Triumph. And you guys, I tell you every week, it's going to be insane that the guest I'm bringing you is so amazing. I have to tell you, I'm getting butterflies every session this season. It's like it just continues to get better and better. And this triumph story, you know what? I'm speechless already trying to describe to you what you're about to experience. Is Lindsey Vertner, and if you haven't heard of her before, guess what? She's about to blow your mind. I just told her when I'm going to bring her out, I said, you know what? I can't even believe that you're here. I'm so super excited that you're here. And I truly am. I don't want to give anything away because if I give you her bio, I will give it all away. I will tell you, though, that she is a young woman with a beautiful family and two beautiful kids, loving. And if you were to tell the wrong person, that wasn't supposed to happen. But I'll let her tell you why. Let me bring her in the room so I can sit in her presence. Lady Lindsey, come and join us. Girl, I'm just too through that you're here. I seriously was saying all night. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much for your yes.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. No. There was no doubt in my mind. I said, well, let me reach out. And if my girl says yes, I'm going to do a dance. And she said yes, y'all. So I did. I did a jig. Yes, girl. Hands up in the air. I was like, oh, she's coming. And, your story, I'm sure it started from when you were little, because what you've been through only speaks to who you were before it happened and how it evolved you to be the woman that you are today. So I want you to take us down that road. I want you to take us down to that magical night in May. Was it 2007?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm a step back. The spotlight is on you, Miss Lindsey. So talk to us about what in the world went down in May of 2007.
Absolutely. So I woke up in complete darkness. I had no clue where I was. I went to move and I couldn't move. I went to call out and I couldn't speak. I couldn't see anything except like the moonlight shining from an unfamiliar window.
Wow.
And in my head, I just knew like I must be tied up in some psycho's basement because what other explanation could there be? That's the only logical explanation I could come up with.
Right.
I mean, it's completely dark. I can't move, can't see, can't talk, can't do anything. And so I start to panic like,
yeah.
Because what else do you do in a time like that?
Right.
And I panicked so much that I eventually exhausted myself out to the point where I passed out. And the next time I woke up, I thought to myself, what a crazy nightmare. It was so lifelike, and I'd never want to experience it again. Only to slowly realize that I still didn't know where I was. I still couldn't see. I still couldn't speak. I still couldn't move. The only thing that had changed was now the sunlight was shining through that same window that I knew wasn't mine.
Girl.
Listen, just getting started, okay?
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. So before I could panic again, I heard voices, and a blonde lady walks up to me and she starts asking me questions like, hello, can you tell me your name? You know what day it is? And I'm looking at this lady like she's crazy. And I'm like, my name is Lindsey, but like, wait, what is going on? And I'm thinking that I'm answering her out loud, but in reality, the only noises coming out of my mouth are.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Lindsey, how old were you when this happened?
I was 20.
You were a baby. My gosh.
Mhm. So turns out was a tube going down my throat, keeping me alive. This lady is actually my nurse, and she proceeds to tell me that an entire week earlier, on May 13, 2007, the car I was driving went off the opposite side of the highway after flipping multiple.
Actually, of a helicopter or something.
Yep.
Your car went off the road, flipped multiple times. Ever even find out how you got flipped?
No.
I can imagine your mom must have lost her mind.
It was wild. So it landed upside down. My head was actually pinned between the ground and the entire weight of the car on top.
See, look how pretty your head is. Yeah, there's no sun and none of that on your head. The car was resting on your.
Pronounced me dead. Right there. They could have called time death and put me in the plastic, but somebody, whether they recognize it or not, listened to that inner God voice on the helicopter, despite what their physical eyes saw, despite what their medical background.
Woo! That is crazy. That is crazy. It reminds me of a story I had. Her name is Pastor Martha Rushing. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she was pronounced dead on the scene. Mm-hmm. And a medic, just listening to that voice that you just talked about, decided to check her again, just to check, because the sheet was pulled. She's still alive. So they took you believing that you were close to dead at that point, but did you die on the way? What happened?
So they actually pronounced me brain dead on the scene.
Oh my.
Why they put me on the helicopter, I don't know. And then they lifelined me to a trauma hospital where, again, by a new set of medical professionals, mind you, I was pronounced brain dead upon arrival. But God, because somebody else listened to that voice and went against everything that they know and proceeded to do emergency surgeries anyway. And the only reason they placed my body on life support was until my family could be contacted, but they didn't even expect my body to make it with life support that long.
Holy cow. I was on mute. I had to say it again. Holy cow. So right away, I'm thinking, and I just said this to another guest, this is a Lifetime movie.
Hey, I'll claim it. Right, you listening?
That's right. Call Tyler. He'll do it. Call Tyler. Tyler will do it. But seriously, though, you hear that your child, because yes, you're 20, that's my child. And I need to hurry up and come because we're trying to hold her till you get here. Mm-hmm. But God had other plans, I guess, because you're seeing that you had a moonlight. Okay, let me stop. I want you to tell it because It blows my mind every time.
Yeah. So what happened was my last memory was I actually was driving home from visiting on Mother's Day.
Oh.
And the next thing I know, I'm waking up to being told that not only had I been brain dead for the past week, but amongst the long list of injuries, I was also paralyzed.
That's why you felt like you were moving, but you weren't moving. You felt like you were talking, but you weren't saying anything of sense. Nothing was coming out. You were paralyzed. So I don't know if you guys are digesting this. Okay. I'm trying to digest because I have nieces that are that age, and I'm thinking, and one of them just had a tire blowout in Florida, and she went off the side of the road, and it could have ended so very differently, So I'm hearing what you're saying, and I was so grateful when I heard her voice. Tia, I'm fine, okay. Is if anybody says this is not a God,
We don't know how the wreck occurred. And obviously, she might not be the same person, but they were wrong multiple times before. They were actually shocked that I made and this contacted my mom. And she was like, "Oh, anything." Right?
yes, yeah.
They had tried to remove me from life support 2 or 3 times throughout, and it wasn't until that very last time the week. So I was being all kinds of things. That's what happened during the week. Blood transfusion, they had to relieve the pressure from my brain.
Yeah.
Piece back together. So I literally had like heavy duty staples from ear to ear. Just looked like a little map. It doesn't matter how much crime pity party
Right.
change what had already happened.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I live the life that I desire? Because I was faithful that I was still here for their plans for my life and a full recovery. And so that's what I held on to.
Yeah, that's right. No, Jason doesn't have me. I'm God, I almost died, but it's not Jason.
Right.
So you are so silly. But you know what, I ask you real quick before you move forward, because it sparked something in me. You said, mom got seen and she elicited all the help around her and all of that. I want to know about little Lindsey.
Mhm.
I mean, who has the nerve or the audacity to think, yeah, well, they said all these things are wrong, but I know a God. I know. And no, that's not normal.
Mhm.
I wish we lived in a world, and it will be one day, but more times than it isn't. So talk to me about what was poured into you as little Lindsey that you think played a role in helping you heal.
Yes. So, in all honesty, it was my mindset and my natural affinity to be a positive type of person.
Yeah.
I used to be real naive, okay? I was trusting of everybody. We won't get into all that, but I was the happy one, trusting of everybody.
Mhm.
All things are rainbows and smiles and all that stuff. I mean, I had my bad days and
Right.
I made my bad choices, but overall, I thank God that was my natural persona.
Mhm.
I didn't know that it was going to lead me to my purpose. I didn't know that there was a reason why I always was kind of fond of psychology. And, you be people watching and you're like, no, what
Yeah.
girl made her say
Her
that?
say that. Yes.
Like, that's always been kind of my thing. Like, why?
You sound like you were that annoying person like I was. And then, I would tell people, words have power. And you'd be like, if you don't shut up.
Yes. And so, to be honest, it wasn't the spiritual piece that kicked off my recovery journey.
That's real.
So,
That's real.
I believed in God before,
Mm-hmm.
and I was more of the go to church, go through the motions, go to church because that's what
Come on,
we
Lindsey.
do. I wasn't the like we're in church Sunday through Sunday every single time, like I'm falling out crying, all of that stuff. Like
Right.
that wasn't me. Like I went to church, I got in the back with the other teams, I went to Sunday school, like
Yeah, that's real talk though.
every Sunday. I believed in God. I said my prayers. I didn't pray consistently every single day, all day, or anything like that. But I said my prayers. I talked to God. I believed in God. I went to church.
Right.
Sometimes.
Steps. Like I did that step. Sometimes I changed the dance step, but
Yes,
for the most
yes.
part, yeah.
Sometimes I would be at church every Sunday for a few months, and then I
then
would be at church for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Well, he was around you. He wasn't necessarily in you at.
Yes. And but in that moment, like I just had faith because in my head, I'm thinking, you've already been wrong multiple times. And there's a reason that I'm still here.
Yeah.
Clearly, you don't know the reason, not to negate their expertise or anything like that, but because I did believe in God. I've always been the person to believe in God and science because God made science.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Right? So I was like, all right. God did what he could do in the spiritual sense as far as not allowing them to put me in practice.
Amen.
Science did what science could do in the medical sense, as far as the surgeries, my medical team, awesome medical team, putting me all back together and all of those things. Then it was up to me. My mom, they could only do so much. Like it was my choice moving forward.
That's right. Do I want to get better? Do I want to survive? Do I want to deal with this pain? Mm-hmm. Do I want to? Do I want to do any of this? Yeah, you're right. It goes back to you.
That's when I realized I could either be victim to my circumstances or be a victor over my obstacles.
Come on. You're preaching now.
made the conscious decision to focus on what I could focus on. I became very laser tunnel visioned on I want to walk, period. Period. Without a walker, without a wheelchair. I want to walk. I'm setting my intentions on walking despite what everybody else is saying.
That's right.
Everyone else's doubts. I want to walk. I have faith that God is going to allow me to walk. And so I talk about that in what I call creating your first class life, which is a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. First class life is actually an acronym. And all of the characteristics and skills that you need to embody into your lifestyle to be able to create a first class quality of life. And so the F stands for faithful. I already mentioned how I was faithful and what I believe to be true about why I was still here. The I stands for intentional. I already said I became laser focused on walking again. And if we jump to the A in class of first class life, that stands for action oriented. All my spiritual folks have heard faith without works is what? It's dead. And in this case, whenever you set intentions, but don't put action behind those, then you won't succeed on the life that you desire. You won't succeed on achieving those goals.
That's right.
Intentions is the faith and the action is the works. And so I was literally in therapy 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 7 days a week for weeks up on end, in all the therapies that you could imagine. Wow. In efforts to get to that end goal that I desired for myself, which was
okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna make you stop because I'm taking notes and you flying. So I want it all. For the F is faith, right? Give it all to me because I'm gonna put it up here so everybody can walk home with it, because that's one thing that I love about you. When you do speak, it's something that I ask people to do when I have an event and they come and speak, is I want to give my people some takeaways, some nuggets that they can walk away and live better. So let's break this puppy down, right?
All right.
Let's do that. Let's create that right now. So
the F is for faithful. No matter what your spiritual beliefs are, you have to believe that there is a purpose that is bigger than you, outside of you.
Okay, so faithful
was God.
That's right.
But it's in science and research as well. So there was a study done at Johns Hopkins University that found whenever you believe that things will work out for your good, during life-threatening situations, you increase your risk of survival by 60%.
Big numbers. Not 5%, 60%.
60. Yes.
That's huge. That's a mindset. Huge. Okay, so we got the F. We faithful.
Yes. I am intentional. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And so for me, I was focused on walking. I couldn't think about the what ifs and the should nots and the couldn'ts. And I had to think about walking. What can I do to get to that next step? Oftentimes we focus on the lack of money or the lack of education or the lack of support. We focus on all the things that we don't have. And when we focus on lack, we attract more lack. When we focus on
look at that.
We attract more abundance. When we focus on whatever it is that we focus on, that's where our energy flows, and that's what we attract into our life.
Yes.
Your focus goes, your energy flows.
Where your focus goes, your energy flows. That's a keeper too. Girl, I don't have enough banners for this screen. And that's the law of attraction. Where your focus goes, your energy flows.
And
right?
the things you focus on become your reality.
Yep. Okay. I'm writing it down. It's going to get up there, though. It's going to get up there because I want to finish first.
Yes.
Because excuse me, listen to me spelling R. F-I-R is next. That's why I said it, right?
Right. Reflective. The R is for reflective.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay.
We have to be self-aware of not only how we are impacting our environment, but how our environment is impacting us. So in the case of my wreck, if I were to allow everyone else's beliefs, despite their good intentions, to impede on my beliefs,
yes,
then I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you.
That's right. And that's why, people will think sometimes you're rude. It's not that you're being rude, and you need to protect your space. If you have people around you with stinking thinking, guess what? That gets on your clothes, in your skin, you can't get rid of it. There's a lot to be said for that. So you have to remove them from your environment, or guess what? You have to remove yourself from their environment. Either way, you've got to protect your space. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. All right. So we almost there. We got S now.
The first S is for self-care.
Oh, that's important. That's important. And it's not just a massage, people.
Right. Self-care is not selfish, and self-care can often look ugly. Self-care is saying no. Self-care is setting boundaries. Self-care is getting therapy.
Oh, come on now.
So it's not just holidays and shopping sprees. Self-care looks different for everyone, but it can often get kind of ugly, but it's necessary.
Yes. Yes. Very necessary. Girl, I'm going to run out of space because I'm realizing you're saying it's an acronym, not just for first, but for class. Oh, we're going to be here for a minute. We're going to fill this time up, but that's okay because we need this information. I think we'll take a break after tea, and then we'll come back. How about that? So what's tea?
The T is for thankful, an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
There's a quote by, I believe it's Buddha, but basically it says, whenever we are grateful for the little things, we attract more to be grateful for of our lives. And in my case, I was grateful that I was still alive. I was, grateful that I had the support available, whether I decided to use it or not. I had it available to utilize. I was grateful that although I couldn't hear very well out of both of my ears, I didn't lose my hearing. Although I couldn't see, I didn't lose my sight. And yes, I walk a little funny now, but I'm up walking. Like, it could have been worse. And I'm careful when I say it could have been worse, because there's a fine line between being positive and optimistic and toxic positivity. And so we don't want to go on that way. But in this particular case, I was grateful for what was not.
Yes. That makes so much sense. And I'll say this, it's funny because I had an episode with Bell's palsy when I was, I want to say 21. And everything, which I woke up and I thought I was having a stroke. Everything was running out of my mouth. I didn't know why until, you never look at your face when you get up until you lift up from brushing your teeth. And that's when I saw everything was like this. And I was horrified. I was freaking out. I didn't know what Bell's palsy was. I thought I was having a stroke. So, I went to the doctor, but needless to say, I found out that it's triggered by a few things. There's a virus, as well as some doctors believe it's tied to stress that ignites it, right? And that was a very stressful time in my life. I remember that. But my point to mentioning it is, you said you walk a little funny, but whatever. When I smile, it's just the slightest bit a little crooked because one side didn't go all the way exactly back where it was, but it wasn't supposed to. God, that wasn't how God designed me to be, right? So it's funny. I don't even think about it unless somebody says something like what you just said. It's part of my whole package.
Yeah.
Do you love it or you leave it alone? I'm good either way, right? And that's kind of the position we have to take on things. You can't walk around and point out the things that you feel are imperfect about you, because then what are you pulling in? What is the energy that you're pulling into yourself going to be? Right?
More insecurities.
Yes. Guys, this is so, isn't she awesome? And she's so adorable. And the whole, I don't get it. I want to talk to the doctor that put it all back together. I know your husband is happy, okay? We will be right back and we'll have some more great conversation and we'll find out about class because I think that's next, right? First class. Okay, we'll be right back. Wait a minute. Don't go anywhere. I just want to give you a quick reminder. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at ariseandshine.live. Okay, well, we're back. We're going to pop in the room again with Lindsey. Let's keep this conversation going so we can find out what class is, okay? All right, Miss Lindsey, you taking us to class.
Yeah.
More. So let's go. Let's go. I think I'm going to, let's see if we can fit it on the screen. It's going to get smaller and smaller, but we're going to work it out.
So the C is for confident.
Oh, that's my favorite. The confidence cultivator that I am.
Yes, we have to be confident in who we are, flaws and all. And then we have to realize what I call our confidence power, which means we have the ability to influence people with our confidence, whether negative or positive.
Yes.
So be mindful of that as well.
That is awesome. Oh, and I'm typing slow because you're ready for me and I don't even have it on the board yet. Let's go, Miss Tanya. Okay, so there we go. So we are ready for the L. We're getting there.
Leadership. Every single person breathing is a leader in some way or form, even if you don't have the official title of being a leader. You are a leader in your family, in your home, possibly in your workplace, in your business, in your community. Someone is always watching. So what are you giving them to see?
That is so good, Lindsey. I say that all the time. I used to own a marketing company in Baltimore City, but we did global events around the world. And, I had a team that would travel with me. And one of the things, they were a couple of seasoned folks, but every now and then we'd have an intern that I brought from one of the colleges so they could have an experience, right? International event planning. And I would tell them, I need you guys to make sure that you're always present and aware of what you're saying and what you're doing because you don't know who's watching you.
Right.
And one of them learned a very hard lesson because she was in the elevator with one of the dignitaries. We had gone to Paris and did an event at UNESCO. And she said something she shouldn't have said in that elevator. And it got back to myself and my client. And unfortunately, let's just say that was her last event with the organization. But, some of those mistakes you can't come back from.
Right.
Right. And you never know who's watching you, not only for the negative, but more times than not for the positive, because you bring light. And you should always aim to bring light in the room when you enter a room.
Yes.
So, you have to be conscious of the fact that everybody's a leader. You're leading in every moment that you're in your life. I love that. That's great. I love that.
Yes. Someone's always.
I'm excited for A now.
Action oriented. We have that one earlier because you have to take action. And I always say progress is better than perfection because sometimes we paralyze ourselves and we procrastinate because we want to have a whole manual one-on-one from point A to point Z before we start taking action, when in reality, sometimes you're meant to create the manual. And then
yes.
And then other times, sometimes what to do next doesn't reveal itself in your life until you start to take that first step. So I always say progress is better than perfection. And if you set your intentions clearly on what it is.
Oriented?
Huh?
Or oriented. Did I spell it right?
Action oriented.
Okay.
I don't see it on screen.
I'm sorry, I got scared.
Action oriented. Yep.
But yeah, I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, it's fine. So whenever we set our intention, whenever there's obstacles,
Yeah.
then it's easier to get up and continue doing those actions because you know what you're fighting for, essentially. So, for example, I mentioned that I had to go through therapies all day, every day, 7 days a week, weekends and holidays included. And one, they didn't know if all of those therapies would work. But I did it anyway because I know what I desired and I was faithful that it was bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those therapies, i.e. physical therapy and shock therapy, were extremely painful.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what shock therapy is, it's when they hook wires up to your body and they literally use electrical bolts.
Right. They try to make your muscles do what they're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very painful.
Like jump starting your car, except it's your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not fun at all.
And so I continued to get up and subject myself to that pain because I knew what I wanted. When your intentions are clear, when the obstacles come, when the pain arises, when the storms fly through, it makes it easier to keep going. Not easy, but easier.
Easier. There's a plan in sight, in action, right? There's a plan in action. That's really good. And a lot of folks, they don't recognize the value of actually putting that plan in stone. It can be, but that will impact your flexibility if you don't allow your blueprint to change with you as you grow, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure your therapies evolved, your weights got heavier, things evolved so that you could get better. It didn't stay plateaued the entire time. But if there's no launch pad, if there's no action to shoot for, you can never progress. So that's really good. You know, it's easy to get stuck doing the same old if you don't have a plan to go anywhere else.
Right. And that's how we find ourselves 10 years down the line, wishing shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. That part. That part. So we have, goodness, we're doing good. Mm-hmm. We have 2 S's left, right?
Yes. And so the first S was for self-care. So I have something called the 3 pillars of self. And the 3 pillars of self are actually these 3 S's in first class life. So the first S was self-care. The second S is self-worth. Yes. Because we have to believe that we are worthy of the things that we desire.
You got to say something.
That often holds us back from doing the actions. Mm-hmm. Being faithful when we don't truly believe that we're worthy of those things.
Yeah. And I don't know if you got to see it's all over the internet. I actually posted a part of it, but when Bishop T.D. Jakes handed over and when he spoke to his daughter about her worth, I was a hot mess. It was beautiful. Especially to come from your dad, right? You are enough. And no matter what happens, you are worthy. You are enough. And if you don't get that, you have to get that in order for you to go to any level, forget next level, any level, you have to know that you're worth the journey. You're worth the effort. You're worth the pain that you went through to be sitting here talking to me now, just as cute as ever, like nothing ever happened. So yeah, you had to know you were worth that. And I can imagine, can you tell us what maybe this is the next S, but you had to do a whole heck of a lot of self-talk to get yourself to listen to yourself, if that makes sense.
Yes. And so I kind of started to mention this earlier and I went in a different direction, but I mentioned how I believed in God before, but the wreck didn't really change my spiritual beliefs. So what I mean by that is how I believed in God before was how I believed in God after. Like, I didn't turn into a nun. I still didn't go to church every single Sunday. I still didn't pray all day, so like nothing had changed as far as my faith. I was just like, okay, I still believe in God, and I still have faith that I'm here for a reason because of him. And here's the thing. See, all of these characteristics are tied together, okay? They all play with each other. That came out wrong, but you get what I mean. So I didn't feel good enough to be who people were calling me. So you said you saw that picture, and the picture she was referencing was an article. There were 3 articles written, and the very first one was front page news, big letters across the top that said, "Miracle on highway. Woman believed dead is now alive in Indianapolis hospital." So that was the first miracle. Then when I returned to my hometown where I was living, not my hometown, but where I was living at the time, there were people calling me Miracle Woman, and there were people calling me Walking Miracle. I didn't feel good enough to be that person.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Yeah. I get that in itself. You almost have to recover from that. So you're recovering from the accident, and you're trying to live up to this persona that they've created you to be, while you're trying to feel better and fix everything else. I'm like, just leave me alone. I'm not my arm hurts. Come on. That's a lot of pressure.
Yes, it was. And I lacked self because I was trying to live up to those expectations, trying to be all for everybody and do all for everybody, even if I didn't remember how to do it all. I would secretly fight with myself that, oh man, I'm supposed to do this laundry, and I don't really remember how to do laundry. I'm supposed to know this person that obviously knows me, that's talking to me, but I don't even remember who they are. Like,
that's so crazy real, Lindsey. That's like in the moment real. You're talking to me. You obviously are familiar with me, but I have no idea who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how to use the washing machine. That's crazy. That's stuff that you would hear, like people are suffering with a disease, dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff like that, that go in the other direction. And you're 20 years old and you're walking through that. And still trying to put on this other face of this superwoman that was in the newspaper.
Yes.
You must have been in the fetal position when you were by yourself, bawling like a fool. Okay. Somebody do something, because I want to get off this ride. Like, this is insane.
There was one incident in particular that I always remember very vividly. So my husband, who was boyfriend at the time, I was doing laundry whenever he had left the house. And whenever he came back, the same pile of clothes were in the same spots. And he's looking like, I thought you was doing the laundry. And like, I just burst out crying. And I was like, I don't remember. Like, I don't know how to sort this. I don't know. And I just had like a mini meltdown. Like, I don't remember what to do with this stuff. Like, obviously, it goes in the washer. You put detergent in there, but like, I don't remember how to sort it correctly. Yeah.
And it seems so simple, right? But I mean, things that we take for granted every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, man. I'm so grateful to God that He brought you from that. I'm grateful that you are here to be a blessing to others and walk them through the overwhelm of life. Because, from somebody who deals with anxiety, right, from time to time, you learn to manage holistically, right? And then there are folks who take medication for anxiety, and medication is necessary at times, right? Mm-hmm. But when you feel things changing care activities to make sure that you don't freaking out and unable to, or in the emergency room, hyperventilating, right? So this is so valuable what you're sharing, and you can't leave me without my essence. One off.
Nope. Last one. So there's self-care, self-worth, and the very last L is self-discipline.
I did chop off self-worth. I put it up there and then I erased it. Okay.
Yes, we have to get out of our feelings. We have to get out of our own way, because our feelings will lie to us. Our feelings change from moment to moment. And how often do we not do something that we know we're supposed to do because we don't feel like it? Or we feel like we're not good enough, or we feel like ... right?
On feelings. Them feelings, boy, they get you in trouble. They get you in trouble. Them feelings is what caused Peter to cut that guard's ear off. Them feelings get you in big trouble sometimes.
Yes. So just being honest when we are feeling certain ways, and being willing to take those feelings and say, all right, I'm going to feel what I need to feel for a certain amount of time, i.e. 5 minutes, the rest of the night, however long you need, depending on the situation. And then I'm going to get up and do what I need to do to change my situation.
Yes.
As best as I can control, because I can't control the world around me. I can only control how I react to it and my own.
That is awesome. And so valid. If we got a true understanding, walked with that every day, I think all of our lives would be so different. How do you help people? Because you coach folks as well, right? You're not only a speaker, but you help people with the first class methodology. How do you keep people on track? Because you unfortunately, the analogy is here, but I'm sure folks veer off the road. Lindsey, how do you help keep your track?
So I use the 3 pillars specifically, and we break down all of that, how and up in their lives, how it's causing them to show up or not show up in their professional lives. But one thing I always say at the very beginning of working with the client is that I might say some things you don't want to hear. I might make you do some things you don't want to do, but it's all so that you can be the person you truly desire to be.
That's right.
This is a partnership.
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter if I give you the key to the universe and the youth of life, okay? You have to want it for yourself, and you have to be willing to take accountability for the things you are or aren't, because I can only do so much. Just like how I said, God did what he could do, science did what they can do, and then the baton was passed to me, and it was only my choice to get up and go to therapy, because they weren't going to force me to go. I had to make the choice every single day to get up and go. I had to make the choice every single day, over and over and over again. I had to make the choice from hour to hour sometimes.
Yes. Even less than that sometimes. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Same with my clients. I can only do so much. You have to make the choice for yourself to do the other part. And as long as you're doing that, it's going to be good.
It's going to be real good. But this has been so good. This has been so good. I'm leaving that up there because I had your website up there before that, but I'm going to go ahead and put that in the comments. Yes, child. Share. Look at that, y'all. And it's on Amazon. And can they get it on your website?
So yes, that's where they can find it, is my website, which is liveafirstclasslife.com.
Okay. And I see it here too. Let me go ahead and put live a first class life.
Picture you were referring to. So I'm not sure how.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. You can definitely see it.
Is it clear? Because I'm blocking
Yes.
the computer.
It's absolutely clear. It's absolutely clear. And that's just crazy. Miracle on the highway.
And you can, I don't know if you can tell the helicopter, and then if you look in the distance the other way, underneath the propellers, you can see the upside down cart. So you only see the wheels.
Well, they're gonna have to buy the book for that because we can't see that. Y'all gonna have to buy the book. Okay, it's worth the investment, and I'm gonna tell you because I saw it. Lady Lindsay's not lying to you. You can see it. You can just plain see it. But get the book so you can save your life. And under the flipped upside down car that you in, right? That's the case. She can help you flip it back over.
Yeah.
Right. And live a first class life. You know, we all deserve that. God put us here to live an abundant life, right? And bring souls to the kingdom. So you don't got to be broke to bring people to Jesus. You can be okay. And guess what? Abundance is not just money. Abundance is happiness. Abundance is family. Abundance is joy. Abundance covers so many. What did I leave out, Lindsay? Abundance covers a whole lot of ground, right?
Yes. Health, wealth, self.
Yes, it covers a lot. And I mean, and that's what we want for you. So whether you go to her name, which is where I went, or you went to a firstclasslife.com, you're going to come right back to this adorable woman saying, "Hi, I'm Lindsay" on the screen. And behind that, you're going to click on books. You just go straight to books. It's right along the top of the screen, and get that book and spend some time with that book. And heck, when you hear she's speaking, I think, let me look at this because you guys, she has a podcast. What's the name of the podcast, Lindsay?
First Class Life Show.
What? You don't say.
Yes, so liveafirstclasslife.com, firstclasslifeshop.com, thefirstclasslifepodcast.com.
You think she's serious, y'all, about this first class stuff? I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And the podcast is for high achieving leaders who desire to maximize their impact while creating a full life of some very specific things that you have to have, or you might as well shut it down. And that is purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. Yes. that face thought she was in the basement with Jason is living a first class life. Exactly right. With two, I mean, I wish they were there so you could show them because they are so daggone cute. Two beautiful kids and a lovely husband. Go follow her. I'm going to put her Instagram in the, well, you guys know I put the Instagram, the website, the links for the book, everything in the comments so that you can reach out. You know, you are as good as your circle. You need to surround yourself with power of mindset, just power. People, if you're the smartest one in the room, Lindsay, what is that? What does that mean?
You need to find a new room.
Hello. So look, we have poured into you guys for a minute, right? But selfishly speaking, Lindsay's poured so much into me because I was blown away before I brought her on the screen with you guys. So make sure that you connect to her. I'm make sure that you connect to Lady Lynn. God has done that for you today. I am going to do something new and exciting, and I'm going to sign off with my girl right here with me, Miss Positivity herself, so she can be right next to me. Well, y'all, too. You know, just be blessed, be positive, and keep rising. And if I could tell you one thing, one action thing I need you to do, because I work at it all the time, and that is protecting your space. it's hard enough to accomplish this stuff when you're in the right space. It's 10 times harder when you have people around you or things around you that don't want you to succeed, right? So protect your space. Make sure that your space finds you back here next week, Sundays at 3:30 Eastern. All right. And we'll see. Lindsey, thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
It's been so much fun having you with me tonight. I haven't typed this much on a show ever, but it's great. It's worth it. So it'll stay there so people can have something to take home. Take care and thank you so much.